Okay, so this is a weird place to be. Okay. Oh. Ugh. See that? She still hasn't cleaned up. I can probably grab that and just pull it out of her, but she probably didn't clean up correctly. That can be a problem. It can cause secondary infection because that stuff that's hanging out of her there it's not a part of her anymore. It's going to die and it rots inside of her. The big problem though is that she won't breed back when she's supposed to. So I'll probably need to call my vet and get them out here to clean her up. And basically, I think what they'll do is kind of they'll douche her basically. A big kind of a spray nozzle thing that they stick in there and they'll clean her out. So anyway, we're gonna have to call them. So I gotta go talk to them here in a little bit anyway, and I'll ask and see what they think. I gotta go get more protein tubs. Might be the last set I have to buy. So I caught number 35. This is number 22. 35 still over there. See, got pink eye. So we're gonna go ahead and treat her while I've got her in here. I've already got this one ready. So a bunch of antibiotics. Stick that in her neck and that should fix that. And then I've got 35 right over in here somewhere. That one right in front of me. We'll get her in here and get her taken care of. Alright, so we got 35 here in the head gate. How much mud I have. See that? Sucks. Anyway, see this stuff hanging out of her here. I mean, she hasn't cleaned up properly. So what the vet has given me is this stuff. And then this bolus here. Now, I guess from what I understand, I'm going to put that kind of in her womb, and I think it's like a antibiotic or something. Not really sure. Didn't come with a label, so I'm not real sure what it is. But we're going to give that to her. So, okay, so this is a weird place to be. Oh, ugh. Wish you guys could smell this. Whew. That's rank. So, like I mentioned earlier, what happens is all that stuff that was hanging out of her, it's not alive anymore, and so it dies and starts to rot inside of her. Been in there since Monday. It's not pleasant. So, okay, that's done. Stuff those little pink pills up inside of her. It's kind of like a suppository, except in her vagina. I gotta get this glove off. This thing's nasty. And we'll let her go and get her back out in the pasture. Did you guys hear that? That was a huge queef. Alright, so today's the next day, and I was watching back the clip of what I was doing with number 35 yesterday, and I don't think I explained that very well. So let me just take a second and explain what we did yesterday. So the first thing with the bolus, you can give those orally, or you can put them inside their vagina like I did on this one. And that's just how the vet told me to do it, so that's what I did. I'm not quite sure what it is that I actually gave her. I didn't think to ask. They just said to give it to her, so I did. There's several different kinds of bolus that you can give. You can actually feed them a magnet like that, and if they eat like metal and stuff like that, it can be sharp, and so that magnet will attract it, and it'll keep it from cutting their guts up. You can also give like chemicals like calcium, stuff like that. Not chemicals, minerals, things like that, vitamins, to help them out. They can get what's called milk fever, which is a calcium deficiency, and so you can give them a bolus of calcium, and that'll help prevent that or cure that. And then the other thing that I've been thinking about doing is on my calves, you can give one that gives early protection against bacterial scours. So I might start doing that on my calves because I've had some problems with scours out here. And then the shot that I gave her, I'd said that was an abortion drug, and that's what it is. But obviously she's already had the calf, so I'm not causing an abortion. What that will do though is it basically uh, will send her back into labor and cause her body to expel everything that's in the womb and get it out. Now, I was talking to my uncle, and some of the old drugs that they used to use would be effective within a day, and some of the newer ones can take 3 to 5 days before it takes effect and works. Again, I didn't think to ask the vet when I was there how long to expect that I'll have to wait on this one for this particular drug. So I don't really know. We'll just have to keep a close eye on her. What I expect is that I'm going to see her basically go back into labor, and probably a really hard labor, like really severe labor. So she'll probably be acting kind of strange, not feeling really well, and that's okay. I know what's causing it, just as long as she does okay. And then I should see her actually expel all that afterbirth. When I had my hand up inside of her, I could feel everything in there that usually comes out. It's kind of like clumpy. It's got these weird little balls on it. You guys have kind of seen that. I'll point it out the next time I have one calf. But I could feel all that inside of her. So, I probably could have tried to pull some of that out, but I don't think there's any point because there's so much of it, and it's so deep inside of her, you just can't hardly get to it all just by hand. So, anyway, so we'll be watching her for the next couple days, waiting for that abortion drug to take effect, and that should cause her to get all that afterbirth out. Now, the reason she didn't, or at least I believe the reason in this case that she didn't clean up correctly, is that I had to pull the calf and then she never licked it, basically. And so whenever I talk about cows cleaning up, there's two things that I'm talking about. The first thing is cleaning up the calf. That one's pretty obvious. It comes out, it's all slimy and wet, got all that afterbirth and stuff on it. And mama cow needs to start licking on it and clean all that stuff off of it. And get the calf cleaned up. Now, that does a couple things, though. They talk about how animals imprint on their mothers, and the mothers actually also imprint on the calf, and that's what starts that process for her. Starts releasing hormones, which will cause her to produce milk. It basically just lets her know that she has a baby that she needs to take care of. And so if she doesn't do that, then that doesn't trigger those hormones, it doesn't cause her to produce milk, and in this case, it caused her not to clean up, I think. So one thing I'd considered doing at the time was getting some of that amniotic fluid off of the calf and putting it on her mouth or on her nose and in her mouth in order to trigger those hormones. And that might have worked. I don't really know. I might try that if I have to do this again, just as an experiment. We'll see. Don't know if that would have helped or not. But that's kind of the problem that's going on here, is that she didn't get that set of hormones that kickstarts getting rid of the placenta and milk production and all that stuff. She didn't get that because she never licked the calf. The other thing when I'm talking about cleaning up is the cow itself cleaning up. And so she's still got placenta and a bunch more just stuff inside of her, amniotic tissues and whatnot that she needs to expel, that she needs to get out. And so if she doesn't do that, then that's what I'm talking about when I said that she hadn't cleaned up properly or correctly, or I don't remember how I phrased it, but that's what I'm talking about. She hadn't gotten rid of all that other stuff that's in there. So that's what the abortion drug should fix. And not quite sure what that bolus does because I didn't think to ask the vet exactly what it was. Like I said, those pink ones are usually just it's usually like a mineral supplement, calcium and stuff like that. So I'm thinking maybe the process of this drug working is going to cause her to lose a lot of her minerals. Could be, so they were just giving her some extra so that she would have it. Not sure. Could have been antibiotic though. Something like that. But anyway, so another thing that I filmed yesterday was I got some geared electric fence reels, and I kind of tried to explain that on my tailgate, but I don't think I did a very good job of that either. So I've set up a little demonstration here. Let me just show you guys how this is going to work. Alright, so it's probably kind of hard to see, but I've stretched a little piece of electric fence across here. Okay, so that's the reel over there is still part of the fence, and it's got a hook on the back of it that's attached to my permanent fence over there. So let's just pretend like there's cows over here where this hay bale is, and then I'm wanting to move them and give them this little piece of the pasture. So I've already ran my other fence posts, and then I've got this other reel, and this is a different kind of wire that I'm going to try. So as I've said before, this is all kind of an experiment. But what you do is you get insulator, you connect that to the fence, and then this has a like a little ratcheting pawl here, and you can lock it so that it doesn't actually engage, or you can put it like this, and then whenever if it tries to roll backwards, hard to do with one hand, it'll stop it. And so whenever I hook it into the fence like that other one, I'll engage this pawl, and then I'll just crank this until it gets tight, and that's how you tighten your fence. For right now though, lock it in that position, and then all you got to do is walk by and string your fence out. If I had two hands, I would also go ahead and clip it into my fence posts here, but I don't. So then, see this hook that on the fence, and then it locks in place with that thing. So now we'll engage that pawl, and this way. Really easy to do with two hands, really hard to do with one. Let's see if I can fold it up here. Give me just a second. Alright, pull that tight, and then my posts here aren't any kind of straight at all, but you just come in and set that in your posts. It's real easy to do. Just like that. Alright, and then from here, I've got the new piece of fence run. I can already tell you this is way more visible. I'm liking that better than the yellow stuff. Anyway, from there, cows would still be over here, and now they would have access to this little piece of pasture. So what you would do, and I would have a lot more room in here normally, but you'll come get this off the, well, first of all, you'd move your fence charger so that it wasn't charging this fence anymore. Move it over to that one. And then from there, the cows don't know that this isn't energized. So whenever I take this off of here, if I kind of walk this way and keep it tight, then I'll be able to open this gate up without them running over me, because they're still not going to touch this, because they still think it's going to bite them if it touches them. So, and I would have enough room to do that normally. It's kind of tight right here, because this is just to show you guys. But then you come over here and just take this one down. So there's a little thing here. So open that up. And so see, this is where I would hold this. I would keep that line tight as I kind of walk around like this, and then they'll follow right behind me, and they'll get into the new pasture. And then from there, I can't do it with one hand, but you just reel up the fence. So these are geared reels, which means that they have a 3-to-1, so every turn of the handle will wrap the spool 3 times, and then just walk down your fence line, collect up all the fence, come back and get your fence post, and just like that, your cows are rotated. Alright, so once you got your old fence pulled up, the new fence is in place and it's energized, your cows are rotated, and I'm done at that point. But if I don't have anything else going on, like, you know, if there's nothing that I need to go work on, I'm not in a hurry, then I can go ahead and take my other set of fence posts. I can run out a new line for the next day, go ahead and stretch the fence, right, because I've got 2 reels, and then I can have tomorrow's rotation already fenced off and waiting. And then whenever I come out, instead of having to run the entire fence, all I have to do is move the fence charger from one spot to the next, and then take down the old fence. And again, if I have time, then I can reset up the new fence for the next day. If I need to go do something, whatever, if there's a cow in labor and I don't have time to run the fence out, no big deal. Then I can just leave the supplies sitting kind of out in the pasture somewhere where near the next place I'm going to use them, and then go take care of whatever it is I need to take care of, pulling a calf or treating a sick one, or whatever the deal may be. So that's the plan for rotational grazing. And at this point, I'm pretty much set up. I've got a whole bunch more of these fence posts. I meant to bring them down today, but I forgot they're up at my camper. So I should have enough fence posts now to do the entire section, to run the fence twice basically. I've got 2 reels, 2 sets of wire. On this one, I spooled up what was left of that yellow wire that was still in the spool, and then I will splice into it what I've already got out here in the pasture, and try to untangle that giant bird's nest. That's a mess though, so I don't know if I'll be able to save that. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And then, yeah, so from there, I should have 2 full sets of electric fence, and that's how my rotations are going to work once I start doing it. So I'm waiting on that to get all of these girls calved, and once they've all calved, I'll put them back in with the rest of this group here, and then as soon as my Bermuda grass starts growing, I'm going to move all of them across the creek to the other pasture there. From there, I'll immediately start rotations, starting next to the pond, and I'll work my way away from the pond. So I'm waiting for the Bermuda grass to come up, and I've talked about this before, because I've got weeds growing out in this pasture, that broom sedge blue stem, that I want to get rid of. And one good way to do that is just to let Bermuda grass crowd it out. So the cows, they're eating on it right now. As it tries to grow, they're eating it down, and then once that Bermuda grass starts coming up, it should be stunted. The broom sedge, that is, should be stunted, and then the Bermuda grass will be able to take it over. So from there, I'll pull all the cows off of it so that they're not predating the Bermuda grass, right? Because cows are grass predators, if you think about it that way. And I'll put them over on the other side of the creek, where I've already got a foot tall or so, mostly fescue grass with some other natives and some other stuff. I've got a bunch of vines and stuff over there that I need to take care of, but first step will just be rotational grazing, getting the cows through there, and starting to control and manage the land. So that's the goal. I want it all to kind of look like this, minus the weeds, the entire pasture, everything. So, all right, today I'm going to take my buddy's trailer back to him. That's been sitting up here for a long time. So that's going to take up most of my day, and it's about to start raining. It's been real nice this morning, but as you can see, clouds are rolling in fast. So, all right, once it starts raining, I don't think it's supposed to stop until Monday or Tuesday. So, don't know how much more I'll be able to get done this weekend. This may be the end of this video. So, if that's the case, I'll see you guys next week. If it's not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So my uncle and I were talking about this the other day. You see all the calves over here with the one cow to watch after them? All the other ones are off eating. Alright, so this one cow here, she's the babysitter for today. And this is like the kindergarten, the nursery, right? All the calves hanging out here with her. And she's going to hang out here and watch, make sure that they're all okay. And she will likely let all of those calves nurse off of her. If they get hungry and they need to nurse, then they'll all nurse off of her. So again, a lot of people think that cows will only let their own calf nurse off of them, but at least with these Angus, that's not generally the case. So all these black calves hanging out right over here with not their mom, well, except for one of them, I guess. And yep, all the other ones are free to go about their day. So kind of a cattle daycare system.